nowadays, and so I and all chuck to know.
Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. Love and peace. Let's say thanks to the police, and we say welcome this morning to the TTPS in the form of Inspector Michelle Lewis. Good morning to you, Inspector.
Good morning to both of you, and good morning to Trinidad and Tobago, and I love being here.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. It is raining outside, but it's good to see that we are very much here.
A big smile on your face, Inspector, like you like when it's raining outside, boy.
Well, no, today is a really nice day. It's a Monday, and so
Nice.
it's a nice day in Trinidad and Tobago to be alive. So I'm happy about that. And this morning we are talking about graduation, children who have sat whether it's SEA or Form 5 or Upper 6 graduating. And so they are given some leverage in some cases.
Some leeway.
Yes, but in other cases, we have children who don't do so well, or consider to have done so well. And so the use of substances such as alcohol is also used, particularly if it is in the home. So we're looking this morning, we want to share some information with parents and children because children are already home from school. You know, SEA results is coming out on Thursday.
On Friday?
On Friday.
Thursday night, Friday morning,
Yeah. I think they will get it digitally as well.
On the portal on Friday. It's at midnight on Friday morning.
As of midnight.
As of midnight on Friday.
As of midnight. So those children, those who like the results, you would see the celebration with the family, and those who don't. So this morning, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service bring the information out a little earlier so that persons could be sensitized and be wise and take the necessary precautions and conversations with their children.
All right, so let me start with the precautions.
Right, so we have, let us look at alcohol in the first issue, right? Although for children, alcohol is not a criminal offense, meaning that if it has alcohol in the home and the child drinks the alcohol, the child cannot be charged, right?
The parent can.
The parent, well, not the parent, but the person who sells the alcohol to the child.
Okay.
But parents must, or parents or guardian or whoever in the home that's responsible for the home, must have the conversation with the children in the house that alcohol is out of bounds and the use of alcohol for someone under the age of 18 is prohibited. They will not be charged, but they ought not to be drinking alcohol at an early age. Now, we know children in school do it, and most times because they are exposed to it from home. Their parents will drink socially, and it is in the home, and there's no conversation with the child about the use of it or no use of it, right? So we also have children who are who have sat CSEC and will be attending their graduation, and a lot of times after the graduation, they go to
Pump.
Right. So the graduation might have it curtailed because the principal and the teachers will be there. But after that, they're going on pump.
But that carries us back to what you were just talking about, Inspector, in terms of having that conversation. What about the individuals who would have the argument that I need to have these conversations with my children, or possibly I need to even expose them so that it's not something that is taboo? So it's not as though, okay, well, I broke out now, so I could afford to, and then you're doing the most because is something that you were never able to, and then you do and overdo.
So are you saying that the parents or the guardian in the house should allow them to drink, to have a taste of it?
Inspector,
To be
what
able
I think DK is trying to say is that historically, in Trinidad and Tobago, I can safely say, we have a culture where the first place you need to learn how to drink is home, so that you know what your limits are when you get outside there. I think you'd be asking this morning, is that right or wrong?
It is wrong because the age really, and when the child reaches 18, you can expose the child to that, right?
Right.
Now, just like sexual intercourse, we know that there are children who engage in sexual intercourse, and there are family members who would say that I want to be the first. Let's be realistic, because just like you talk about alcohol, it happens with sexual intercourse. It does not make it right. So in the case of alcohol, it is important that you have that conversation with the child to wait until they develop more. And when they reach 18 and they want to expose them to that, have a drink with you, whether it's wine or vodka, whatever it is that you want to expose them to, whatever type of drink, at that stage, fine. Now you have to remember that sometimes when children go out, you give someone an inch, they may take a yard. So they go out with their friends and they're drinking. And sometimes, if they're not responsible enough, there's a mixing of the drinks, one, which can cause them to become, feel
Sick.
Well, sick is one aspect of it.
Loss of control.
Loss of control. We have some young persons who have driver's permits who will be driving as well. You also have persons, young persons, when they're already exposed to drinking and receiving cocktail drinks from someone, that persons can put something into the drink. And now it becomes, it's not just a normal alcoholic beverage that they're expecting to drink, but it is now contaminated with another substance, and they can be very vulnerable to rape and other type of criminal offenses. So the use of alcohol with a minor is still it's still prohibited. It's not one of the things that they are to engage in. And so this morning with graduation, parents will allow the children to go out with the vehicle because it's graduation night. I mean, I did allow my son to drive the vehicle on his graduation night, but he was not drinking. Right, he had his driver's permit at the time, his driver's license, and I must say I followed him.
So did you really allow him?
Yeah, well, he was driving in front of the vehicle, and me and Papi was in the back, ensuring that, he abide, of course, He didn't call me when it was time to come back, because he wanted to show me that, Mommy, I could drive. But yeah, so parents do allow children some leverage at graduation time to be able to show that, I'm an adult now. And so this morning we want parents to be very mindful to have the conversation with children about who they're going out with, who will be supervising the events that they're going out to attend, and how they're coming back home. And ensure that the driver is a responsible driver.
What are some of the things that they should be looking out for? Because not just graduations, you mentioned the graduations, but of course we're getting into our Java season where they have a whole heap of parties. Yes. I saw just last week, I saw somebody on social media complain that they went to an event and the next thing they know, they wake up in the hospital because they were apparently drugged by they had one drink and they end up waking up in the hospital confused because they don't know what happened in between that one drink and waking up in the hospital. So what are some of the things that young people especially go into events, go into parties, go into socializing situations? What should they be on the lookout for or aware of?
Right. So during the hours that you're going to be there, you're going to get thirsty. Go to the bar and get your drink for yourself. Even if you're walking with your friends, go to the bar and get the drink for yourself. See that the bartender pours the drink for you, whether they pour in the shandy into a glass or whatever, cup or whatever. Make sure that the drink that they're giving you, you are seeing it for yourself. Do not allow anybody to bring a drink and hand it to you, and not even a friend, because sometimes friends set you up, right? It happens where a friend knows somebody and they say, I like your friend, and then, it happens. It happens.
That's not your friend?
It does happen. It's not your friend,
I know your friend.
But it's somebody that you consider a friend. Then you also have the instances of date rape and the someone who may know you, and of course, they may put something in your drink. So if you don't know someone and you're not very comfortable person, or if you have the feeling, like the instinct that this not feeling right, go with your gut feeling and don't engage. Don't have a conversation with the person. Don't leave the party or the fete with the person. Do not accept drinks from strangers, even if it's somebody that you feel you're comfortable with. The reality is that a lot of these things happen by persons that we put a level of trust in quite naively, and these are when the incidents actually occur.
What would you say to members in the community, people who are business owners as well? Because yes, parents and guardians have a responsibility, but in terms of people in the community as well, seeing, because I think sometimes we're at a point now, well, let them do what they're doing, eh? We can't tell them young people nothing. But what would you tell individuals who are interacting with these people?
Well, so you have that aspect, and then you also have the persons who own the clubs and the pubs, right? Remember the story with Akon, right? And the child who was a minor. So even though young people dress up and they look more mature than the actual age, could even be at 14, 15 because they're size, right? It's important that the owners of these establishments or the persons who are in charge of these establishments ensure that these persons who are entering your places of business to socialize are of the age to do so. When young persons are going out, so the situation now has reverted. It has forced the communities now to go back to the community raising a child, especially when you see gang violence taking place and the communities wanting to take back, right? So that you have a lot of communities now looking out for each other, whether it's by WhatsApp groups and that kind of thing. So where you have children who are going out, or a neighbor is seeing a strange person come into your home and you are not at home, but the child is at home because it's vacation time. These are the types of instances where we want that community building, and for the neighbor to call the parent of the household to say, listen, I noticed there's a young fella by your home and I know he's not the child cousin or friend. So, you know, this is something that you need to pay attention to. Sometimes after school or at the corner of a street, they may be socializing, we would say hanging out. These are things that members of the community can also pay attention to and help, because it is in these small gatherings that gang activities start, and the use of illegal drugs also starts. The use of marijuana also starts, because now you have a lot of time, you have a lot of free time and exposure. And so because of that, if it is not curtailed, and if you don't have the conversation with young people that, yes, you are young and we want you to enjoy life, but we also want you to be responsible and alert of some of the things that occur outside there. Eating brownies and cookies that are made with marijuana or something else could be damaging to your health, your mental health. And so these are things that parents need to have with their children at this age, because it is very, very prevalent in the communities, one way or the other.
Once again, it feels as though it goes back to having, as opposed to just saying, okay, well, it's graduation season, these are conversations that are supposed to be built over time, so that there's this level of communication, and so trust, that you can have that trust.
And trust. So once a parent or guardian maintain that relationship of trust with the child will think twice. One, if something happens to the child will feel comfortable to talk to the parent about it, because they have that relationship. And so it prevents a lot of instances of bad experiences from happening with a child. So the parent still plays a very active and critical role within the life of a child. I know a lot of times we say, well, we work in and, you know, we allow them to grow up, but having that input within the life of a child is really, really crucial. And so the use of alcohol, even by yourself, because you can as an adult, but you need to let the child know, you know, I'm an adult, and verbalize the conversation.
Parents' juice.
Yes. Well, I don't know about parents' juice.
Because even doing as I say, not as I do, raises questions. But I like that level of trust that you're talking about. Even though the inspector talking about trust, she still was driving behind people.
Thank you. Talking about trust but verified.
So while you miss a young driver.
So you drive behind all the young drivers, or just?
So that was my son. I had the prerogative to do that. But he enjoyed his graduation, and
that's the part that matters. So I think what we want to take away from this is have conversations to build that level of trust, build awareness, so that you're not going out there making these bad decisions, and you're aware of your surroundings, so you're not naive when you go to situations where you're in a party, where you're socializing, where after graduation you're pumping. Just be responsible and have those conversations with your children. Inspector, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Always a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we take a quick break and we come back with more. Don't forget, according to the TTPS, if you see something, say something, whether it's to the parents or the police, or both. Yeah? We'll be right back.
No one couldn't walk alone. Tongue was like a